10 high school students get dragged into a real-life werewolf game. This kind of deadly survival game setup is nothing new, but all the tiny details and every move each character makes, including pretending to be weak and all kinds of hidden mind games, are honestly really fun to dig into. So without wasting time, genre game 1, The Villagers begins. The opening shot is a spider web. A spider is feeding on an ant barely hanging on. But how did the ant fall into the trap? Turns out there is a so-called hand of God controlling things from behind. The scene then cuts to Nishina Eri. She notices her longtime mutual Twitter friend Saikairo has posted something that makes her uncomfortable. He replies to someone who is against animal abuse, saying every year a huge number of cats and dogs are put down in shelters. The waiting time before death is 5 to 10 minutes, so I kill them in less than 5 to 10 minutes. What is wrong with brutally killing them? Eri is completely speechless and unfollows him, but she is actually someone who tries to avoid direct conflict with people. That day she walks home from school with her best friend Shoko. They happen to run into 3 little boys playing with bugs. At this moment, the movie reveals the true identity of the Hand of God from the opening. It is actually these 3 boys. Eri cannot stand it, but she does not want to speak up herself, so she reaches out and pulls Shoko back. Shoko says if you want to say something then say it yourself. While the two hesitate, one of the boys turns around and speaks first. What are you looking at? They say even if the ant died, the spider got full, didn't it? If the spider starves, are you going to take responsibility? Are you going to pay us 100 million yen? Shoko gets so angry she wants to swing. Eri instead speaks up and says, the spider and the ant are not your toys. This clearly shows how different the two friends are. Right after she finishes speaking, the boys' eyes suddenly turn clear. Eri and Shoko both turn their heads back, showing that a dangerous presence has appeared behind them. Now things are about to get really mind-bending. When they wake up again from unconsciousness, the two of them along with 7 other teens their age are tied up inside an abandoned building. Saikairo is there as well. At this moment, they still have no idea a life or death game of werewolf is about to begin, and from this point on, every action each character takes is already hinting at their true identity. In the hall, there is a circle of chairs and a television. Everyone looks completely confused and instinctively starts looking around. Fumitaka reaches out and turns on the TV. Shoko and Eri are about to leave the building. They are stopped by Saikairo. A message says do not leave the room for now. Everyone gathers in front of the TV completely confused. The screen starts announcing the game rules. There are 7 villagers and 2 werewolves. Every night at 8, everyone must gather at their seats. They must vote for one suspected werewolf and kill that person before 9 that night. Seeing this, everyone thinks it sounds like a joke. Some of them even laugh. The rules continue scrolling down. The method of killing is completely up to you. However, highly toxic potassium cyanide has been prepared for you on site. After a brief moment of silence, Marie suddenly pushes the door open and enters. Her head is down and she looks completely out of it, totally different from the others who are nervously looking around. When she walks in, Konomi nearby shows a clearly unnatural expression on her face. Everyone keeps reading the rules, and the next part wipes the smiles right off their faces. If a suspected werewolf is voted out but not killed, everyone dies. Refusing to play, escaping the building, peeking at someone else's roll card and breaking the rules means death. Fumitaka is usually a werewolf game player. He reacts first the moment he reads this and finds the roll card the kidnappers hid on him beforehand. Everyone else quickly checks their own cards too. The camera gives a close-up of Eri's roll card. From the audience view, she is a clear confirmed good roll. At this moment, only Shoko still does not move. She lets out a cold laugh and refuses to play. But the moment she pulls the door open, blood splashes across her neck. Everyone freezes on the spot. Some of them cannot even believe what they are seeing. This game is actually real. Do not forget this is a werewolf game. Werewolves are supposed to kill people. Sure enough, the TV displays the werewolves' mission. The 2 werewolves can use their roll cards to identify each other. Every night between midnight and 2, they must kill one person, otherwise everyone will die. In the end, between the wolves and the villagers, only one side will survive and claim victory. The winning side will receive 100 million yen as a reward. Everyone stares at Shoko's body and realizes the kidnappers have installed a killing device around their necks, so no one dares to act rashly. Rooms in the building have already been assigned to everyone and everything in the kitchen is fully usable. It feels like the kidnappers planned this game down to every detail. Eri is still crouching beside Shoko's body crying while the others gather in the kitchen to talk. Saikairo asks everyone, do we resist and try to escape or do we play the game and follow the rules? Takeshi, Marie, Yuhei and Saikairo himself vote to resist, while Fumitaka, Konomi and Tomohiro vote to play the game honestly. Hitomi gets no focus and seems to abstain. Maybe Saikairo originally wanted to rally everyone and find a way to escape together, but for Fumitaka, who often plays werewolf games, he has already started analyzing the situation. Voting is at 8 and killing starts at midnight. That means the first night is a total blind vote. At this stage, it is not about acting innocent. It is about grouping up and forcing one person out, so his approach becomes more aggressive. He directly takes the chance to question the 4 in the resistance group. If you do not want to play, then just show your role cards. Of course no one agrees to that. What a mess and what a cowardly move. At this moment Tomohiro speaks up for the other side. Hey, everyone is just trying to stay alive. Fumitaka snaps back at him, asking whose side are you on? But in a life or death situation, not everyone has entered game mode. Some people remind him that the real enemy should be the kidnapper. After that, the 4 from the resistance group go to the entrance, trying to call for help, but there is no response from anywhere nearby. Marie hesitates as if she wants to say something but ends up saying nothing. Then Saikiro suddenly gets an idea. They could throw Shoko's body outside. If a passerby sees it, the police would definitely be called. Eri cannot accept this and breaks down crying, but in the end, she can only watch as the 4 of them throw Shoko's body out of the building. Meanwhile, Fumitaka has already been analyzing the situation with the game side. He suggests sticking together tonight and using a full vote to kick out anyone from the other side. Tomohiro points out there could also be a werewolf on our side. Hitomi also says if we are voting, it would be better to vote for an actual werewolf. In fact, what Hitomi says is clearly something a good person would say. But Fumitaka responds that right now there is no way to tell who the werewolves are, so first gather 4 votes and kick one person out. At least that guarantees we survive until midnight. But what if the resistance group has thought of this too? Wouldn't that make both sides equal in numbers? So Fumitaka takes the lead again and tries to pull Eri to their side. At this moment, Eri is still guarding Shoko's body, feeling completely broken. While he is trying to persuade her, the resistance group arrives. Takashi grabs Fumitaka and slaps him hard. Saikiro quickly steps in to separate them, then brings up a new clue that up until now they still do not know what logic the kidnappers use to pick their victims. Do any of us know each other? As he says this, he reveals that he and Eri are Twitter friends. Hearing this, Eri finally snaps back to reality. Maybe because she remembers she already blocked him. Following Saikiro's suggestion, everyone returns to the hall for a second meeting. Marie also reveals she is actually Konomi's sister. You can tell the sisters probably had some tension before. One by one, everyone introduces themselves. Eri speaks while crying, mentioning a sentence she once read in a book that people have a strong resistance to killing, let alone actually killing someone. Even the thought of killing is impossible to act on. Fumitaka and Hitomi have nothing nice to say about this kind of doomsday saint mindset. They completely tear into her and criticize her non-stop. But Tomohiro understands how she feels and starts to feel sympathy for her. As night slowly falls, Eri finds a blanket and wants to cover Shoko. Tomohiro rushes out to stop her. If you cover her, it will no longer serve the purpose of calling for help. Stop it. 8 o'clock arrives very quickly. Everyone sits in a circle, getting ready for the first vote. Eri asks everyone once again, can we really bring ourselves to do this? Hitomi with a bad temper grabs her and yells, if you do not want to play, then quit like your friend did. Tomohiro quickly steps in to stop her. Saikiro also joins in trying to calm things down. After a lot of talking, Eri finally raises her hand to vote. She votes for Saikiro on the spot. Saikiro wants to cry but cannot. Luckily the votes this round are extremely scattered. Fumitaka, Takashi and Marie each get 2 votes, tying for the highest. The game side failed to stick together. Hitomi complains immediately, saying this is not what we agreed on. Then she straight up exposes Fumitaka's plan, saying that guy told us to point at you. Instantly triggering everyone's anger, a re-vote is held among the 3. This time everyone except Eri votes for Fumitaka. From this, you can see how a life or death game is fundamentally different from a normal werewolf game. The person who creates conflict first is always the most dangerous. Compared to that, someone like Eri, as long as she cooperates and votes properly, everyone will think she is harmless and does not look like a werewolf, even in this re-vote where Fumitaka is guaranteed to die. Eri still votes for herself, fully committed to keeping her hands clean. While waiting for death, Fumitaka is so scared he wets himself. The others bring over the cyanide, but no one dares to make the move. As time is running out, Marie is the first to handle the poison. Fumitaka stands up and tries to run, but everyone works together to pin him down, holding him down. Fumitaka dies and Eri is so shocked she faints. The first night's voting finally ends. The TV announces additional rules once again. Everyone must return to their rooms at midnight and cannot come out until 6 in the morning. The werewolves must kill someone before 2. Besides that, among the good players, there is a special role called the seer who can check one person's identity each night, and the night will continue to claim lives. Everyone is left with mixed emotions. Takashi suggests that the werewolves should just kill themselves, but someone quickly reminds him, if the werewolves fail to kill, everyone will die. When Eri wakes up again, she finds herself carried back to her room. Someone has even covered her with a blanket. It looked like Eri's blanket was already used to cover the body, so this blanket must belong to someone else, in a desperate situation. This is a quiet act of care, which means this person is clearly someone who could be an ally. It is not yet curfew time. She goes to the bathroom and washes her face. Konomi comes over and the 2 chat casually. Eri hugs her and the 2 girls cry softly together. From another angle, this is exactly what I mentioned earlier, because Eri's behavior looks harmless enough. In this situation, it makes it much easier for her to pull people to her side. In the corner, Marie watches silently. No one knows when the werewolves will make their move. That night, after returning to her room, Eri hides under the bed until she hears a gunshot from Yuhei's room next door. Only then does she quietly crawl out. Takashi insists on searching every room to see who has a gun. All the other rooms have been checked. Eri arrived late, so hers is the only one left. It is pretty obvious they are starting to suspect her. Tomohiro immediately speaks up for her, saying even after searching, no one found anything anyway. Following Takashi's logic, if this thing could really be found by searching, 2 werewolves would mean 2 guns. Even if Eri's room was not searched, the others did not have guns either. But who says there must still be 2 werewolves left? As soon as Tomohiro says this, the conflict instantly shifts from Eri onto him. The two argue briefly and part ways unhappily. That guy might be a werewolf. Eri turns back feeling full of regret, saying that last night she heard the gunshot from next door, and her first reaction was actually relief. Feeling like she had been saved, she feels ashamed of herself for being this selfish. The others scold her for her saint-like mindset. Without realizing it, Eri has already used this line to quietly clear her own suspicion, saying I was next door so I could not be the werewolf. This kind of wording is clearly much more advanced than what Tomohiro said earlier. Yuhei's body is also thrown outside, but up to now they still have not seen any rescue. Eri guesses that the one who carried her back last night was probably Tomohiro, because only he knew she did not have a blanket. Eri returns the blanket to him. It is fine, I will figure it out myself. I have books and cushions. Tomohiro cannot help but remind her. Next time do not vote for yourself again. If you do that, you might as well kill yourself. Sorry, I just want you to stay alive. Please be stronger. Shoko was always protecting me before. Now I will become Shoko. From this point on, the two grow closer and she successfully gains an ally. But after Eri turns away, Tomohiro seems lost in thought. Later, Saikairo finds Eri and Marie and holds a small private meeting. He runs the numbers. Yuhei killed by the werewolves last night must have been a villager. After all, in a life or death game, no one would pull something like a wolf killing themselves. Among the other 2 dead Shoko and Fumitaka, there is a 40% chance that one of them was a werewolf. That means if they keep failing to find the wolves in at most 3 more nights, everyone will be wiped out. Saikairo trusts these two and hopes they can think of any clues about the werewolves and share everything so they can brainstorm together. What he is doing right now is also a very typical good guy mindset. Why did you call us here to talk about this? What if we are werewolves? I understand that, but I really cannot hold on anymore. Eri comes up with an idea. The 2 werewolves know each other's identities, so in the first night blind vote, they would never vote for each other, but the situation back then was too chaotic. The 3 of them cannot remember the voting pattern clearly. Just as the clues run out and silence falls, Marie asks a soul-piercing question. Even if we win, will the culprit really let us go? Talking about 100 million yen like we are not kids anymore. As 8 o'clock voting time comes again, the atmosphere is even heavier than the first night. Marie suddenly claims to be the seer. Saikairo gets very proactive and asks who she checked. Last night I divined Saikairo. He is a werewolf. I am not a werewolf. Saikairo pauses for a second then immediately fires back, saying Marie is a werewolf, fake claiming. If you think about it from another angle, based on their current probability analysis, the chance that there are still 2 werewolves alive is as high as 60%. This is a life or death game and there is no witch to save anyone. Once the seer reveals themselves, as long as there are 2 werewolves on site, they will definitely be killed that night, so a real seer would never reveal themselves on this night, which means Marie can only be a werewolf. Fumitaka, you really died too early. The people left here do not know how to play werewolf at all. The 2 sides fall into a deadlock and Takashi cannot sit still anymore. He has no choice but to speak up, saying I am the only real seer here. The person I checked last night was also Saikairo and he is a villager. Now this gets awkward. If Takashi had checked literally anyone else, he might have been able to pull one more vote. Marie immediately fires back. I get it. The 2 werewolves are Takashi and Saikairo. You wolves are binding votes to save your teammate. Konomi gets anxious seeing her sister being suspected and tries to help by asking how the seer actually checks people. Takashi and Saikairo light up the moment they hear this. They question Marie, telling her to explain first. Let's see if you can even make it up. The card says between midnight and 2 in the morning. Plug in the TV power. Enter the room number of the person whose identity you want to know, then the result appears on the screen. I checked Saikairo and the screen showed a werewolf symbol and text. Takashi completely freezes after hearing this. How do you know that too? How is he supposed to prove himself now? He cannot just repeat the same thing, but the players who stayed silent are still confused and have no idea who to choose. At this moment, Tomohiro asks a crucial question. Why did you choose to reveal your role tonight? Marie reacts very quickly. She says because she originally thought one of the wolves was Fumitaka, who already died, so voting out Saikairo would mean the villagers win. but now it looks like the two wolves should be Takashi and Saikairo. She also knows she is about to be targeted and killed and even asks everyone to protect her sister. This answer basically addresses most of the doubts from earlier, about why the seer would reveal themselves on this night and clears away a lot of suspicion. In the end, only Saikairo votes for Marie. Eri once again votes for herself, everyone else votes for Saikairo. Before dying, Saikairo asks Eri why she voted for him during the first night blind vote. Was it because of his comments about cats and dogs on Twitter? Eri is stunned by the question. It feels like the movie uses this moment to compare the werewolf game to real life. Maybe people really do judge others based on brief moments. And what makes it even more ironic is that Saikairo has now become the cats and dogs he once talked about. Once Saikairo says this, Eri's saint-like image cracks just a little. Hitomi breaks down and grabs Takashi by the collar, telling him to go kill Saikairo. Even if someone survives and manages to escape this place, everyone will already be broken inside. Takashi has nothing to say and curses at Eri, then picks up the cyanide. In the chaos, Saikairo becomes the fourth person to die. One more person will still die tonight. As they walk out of the hall, Tomohiro asks Marie, "Why did you choose to check Saikairo? Wouldn't most people check their own sister first?" Marie says because she already asked her sister directly and believes her sister would not lie to her. After saying that, she turns and lightly steps toward Eri, saying, "You are very sly. If I do not get killed tonight, I will check you." Tomohiro immediately steps in to back Eri and reminds Marie not to waste her checking chance on someone who is obviously a good role. Another night passes and Hitomi is killed. At this point only Eri, Tomohiro, Marie, Takashi and Konomi remain. If Marie were really the seer, the werewolves would have no reason not to kill her last night, so that makes her a confirmed wolf. Takashi being safe last night while Hitomi, who clashed with him during voting, ends up getting killed also helps confirm Takashi's werewolf identity. Sure enough, during the confrontation the next day, Marie says she checked Takashi last night and he is a wolf. Takashi says he also suspects her. Tomohiro suggests letting Takashi check him tonight, which is basically the second time he clearly distances himself from Marie, but everyone knows Takashi probably will not survive tonight and might get killed before that even happens. Before the vote, Konomi comes to Eri holding a notebook. Her instant memory is insanely strong. She actually writes out all the previous voting patterns from memory. "Do you remember the results of the first night vote? Fumitaka, Takashi and Marie each had 2 votes. Eri had already analyzed this before. In the first night blind vote, the werewolves would never vote for each other, and among Takashi's 2 votes, one came from Saikairo, which directly proves that these two cannot both be werewolves, meaning Marie has been lying. Realizing her own sister is the werewolf, Konomi completely breaks down crying. After that, the two split up and go to Marie's room and Tomohiro's room. Now there are only 5 people left, excluding Takashi. If there are still 2 werewolves on the field, then the other one can only be Tomohiro. But Eri directly tells Tomohiro about the voting pattern Konomi wrote down. Tomohiro deliberately probes, "So you are saying there are likely still 2 wolves among us?" Eri reacts calmly. This lets Tomohiro gradually realize the one who drew the vote patterns and figured out the situation is clearly Konomi, and Eri is actually still standing on Tomohiro's side. But he still asks one question. "Why did you not ask whether I am a werewolf or a villager? Because asking would have been meaningless anyway. It feels like you have become stronger." "Not really. What happened? Do you not think this place is the same as the outside world?" "What do you mean?" "You cannot survive without killing the people around you. Not just in capitalist society. Even in self-sustaining industries like farming, it is the same. Exams are the same too. In the outside world, people can survive without killing others. It is completely different. But maybe this place is actually better than the outside world." "Why?" "Because while killing others, you can truly feel that you are alive. Without being sure of that, you cannot survive. Coming here made me understand. In the previous world, I only saw the good side and never saw the ugly side." Then unexpectedly during the third night vote, Marie directly exposes herself and points out the other werewolf teammate Tomohiro. Looking back, all the earlier details had already hinted at this. For example, on the first day when the resistance group and game group formed, the 2 wolves were split one on each side, so when Fumitaka suggested the resistance group reveal their cards, Tomohiro instinctively spoke up for that side, which was actually a way of protecting his wolf teammate. After all, his name was also written on his teammate's card. Later, when Fumitaka suggested grouping up, Tomohiro also warned that there could be a wolf on our side. The same line was said by Marie when she spoke to Saikairo during the small meeting, and during the second night's critical fake claim, Marie's motive actually had flaws, and it was Tomohiro who stepped up to ask why she revealed her role, handing her a chance to patch things up. So in reality, these two worked together quite well. After Saikairo was voted to death, Tomohiro also questioned Marie twice. On the surface, he was distancing himself early to secure his own position, but Marie only cared about protecting her sister, once she was sure her sister was safe, she chose to expose herself. In the final vote, 3 votes go to Marie and 2 to Tomohiro. This time, Eri does not vote for herself. This vote is actually very calculated, because during voting, only one of the 2 werewolves can be eliminated. The remaining werewolf can still kill someone that night. Only by keeping Tomohiro alive can Eri make sure she herself will not be killed tonight, so in this round, she does not abstain. Looking at Eri as a character, she might not be as purely saint-like as she appears, but this does not mean she is bad, because in a life or death game, there is no clear black and white. She truly feels sad every time someone dies. But maybe she had already entered game mode much earlier. This time, she no longer stays on the sidelines and joins in poisoning Marie. Tomohiro still makes a pale attempt to defend himself, trying to pin it on the sisters being double wolves. Eri does not expose him because of this. That night she stands on the balcony with Tomohiro. Tomohiro is clearly attracted to Eri. After we get out of here, will you go on a date with me? I have never been on a date. Actually, neither have I. Eri chooses this way of dancing with the wolf, which serves the same purpose as when she deliberately approached Tomohiro before voting. That purpose is surrendering herself to the situation. After seeing the voting patterns, she must have already guessed that Tomohiro was the other werewolf, but she still needed to make sure this wolf would not kill her. So she chose to get close to him, saying, "I do not care about enemies or allies. The real problem is this environment." Of course, she might genuinely have real feelings. On the final night, the werewolf kills Takashi just as he himself had predicted. The next day, the wolves and villagers naturally sit into 2 opposing camps. Tomohiro knows he is destined to lose and cries as he apologizes to Konomi. What is the culprit doing all this for? Who exactly is the culprit? It could be an adult or it could be a child. Maybe they just want the ants and the spiders to fight each other. Invisibly, the wolf and villager camps along with the 100 million yen prize all overlap with the bugs the boys were playing with at the beginning. Tomohiro walks to the door ready to face death. The villager's side is about to win. Eri seems to drop the act and raises her hand to push Tomohiro. Konomi follows right after. No matter what happens, please do not give up on living to the end. Tomohiro throws out this line and runs outward into the spraying blood. However, the game does not seem to be over yet. The TV displays the words "first half finished." After waking up, a new batch of players has already entered. Eri finds a new role card on herself. She and Konomi have become the werewolves of the next round. At this point, we can sort out some hidden details from the opening. No wonder Tomohiro and Marie were the last 2 to enter, especially Marie, who looked completely dazed and even missed part of the rules explanation, yet still managed to keep up with the game. Because the 2 of them were already players from the previous round and only became the next round's werewolves after winning, this also explains why Marie knew how the Sears checking method worked, and why she suddenly asked that soul-piercing question midway: "Even if we win, will the culprit really let us go?" Talking about 100 million yen like we are not kids, because she already knew the game would keep looping endlessly, and that is where Jinru Game 1 comes to an end. If you enjoyed it, feel free to like the video. We will update the stories of the later films. See you.